Welcome to the Cynical Marketers podcast, where the greatest minds in marketing, we think, discuss marketing for an audience of several. And now, your hosts, Mike and Nada. All right, welcome everybody. Another episode of the Cynical Marketers, episode 10.
Indeed.
Holy cow.
We're halfway there to that magic 20, Mike.
That magic 20, which I don't know what's going to happen when we get to the 20. You know, that's just this goal we set because, you know, there's stats out there that say 99% of anyone who starts a podcast quits before their 20th. So we want to be in part of the 1%. We don't make 1% money, but there's something we could be in the 1% on. And that's what we're going for.
We'll take it.
I'll take it. Sure.
Yep.
So it's not like some magic thing's going to happen and all of a sudden, you know, because we say that we do this podcast for our audience of several, right? Maybe a few more. I don't know what we grow beyond several.
I don't know, Mike. It's one of those things where, like, marketing, you know, there's such a weird perception about us in marketing, right? Which was what we're going to talk about today. That's
what we're talking about. Our topic today: why does the world hate marketing?
Yeah. Why do they? So
I don't know. Look, I'm in marketing, and there's a lot of stuff marketers do too that I hate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
and maybe it's because I didn't come from it, right? Like I worked a career as an adult and kind of worked into marketing. So I always view myself as a consumer first. And I think that's helped me in marketing. And there's a lot of marketers who don't. I don't think they take the consumer.
I mean, that's not been my experience, right? I've been in marketing.
Into their thought process at all.
Yeah. No, I've been in marketing since we were doing, you know, embedded banners in emails and things like that. So back in 2001, I've been around the block a few times on the retention side, but yeah, I don't have the same mindset as you do, right? Like my background is in, you know, my degree is in e-com marketing. My background has always been marketing. So yeah, so we've gotten a lot of heat in our careers too over being in marketing and what that perception is like. And, you know, I think as the consumers are getting savvier, they're starting to recognize clear marketing tactics and they're starting to call folks out on that.
More power to them too, because most of those times, those tactics and stuff, I just can't stand it either. I know we had the experience we talked about a couple of times. We got on a call because we're an agency too, right. Believe it or not, we actually do this for folks.
We actually do this for a living, y'all, for clients. And we do it well. Let's just say that.
I know. We joke around about this a lot because we have to be lighthearted about what we do. But we are lighthearted about ourselves, not our clients, of course. But
we always say, you know, it's like we're saving PDFs. We're not saving lives or whatever the saying is, you know.
You know, you always try to tell, hey, unless you're actually working in a job where you are doing things to cure cancer, we're not. You know, none of us are doing that. You're selling a product or a service that people need or want for sure. But it's not like any of it's life-changing or you know.
Right.
There are things people want or, you know, more wants than needs necessarily, but people get so worked up about all of it. And I know.
Yeah, I mean, but I think this is one of those things. So we've talked about this. There are definitely reasons, and especially in recent years, why consumers are so, I hate to use this word, but they're so triggered by marketers, right? So, you know, we've done some kind of looking around, poking around LinkedIn, just trying to get some feedback from folks in marketing, from consumers. We have a list. The same things keep coming up on these lists of why is everybody so tired of marketing. So let's talk about the list.
Yeah, let's talk about it. What's the first one you got?
Overpromise and under-deliver. The corporate cliche, but God, marketers do exaggerate product benefits. You know, and especially with I don't know, like weight loss pills come to mind first. Like anything that's in the health industry. There is a skin brand I will obviously not mention by name who is constantly posting videos of, if you put this cream on your face, immediately erases your lines. Like it's like Botox, but not Botox. Like, come on, you know, and
you know,
folks
and you think
are getting smart
about it. In our world,
too,
the agency world, agencies will overpromise and underdeliver, and then, you know, for the business side, they get a bad taste in their mouth about all marketing agencies, and then you hear from folks say nobody has done anything for us. They always overpromise and underdeliver.
Yep. The infamous 10X right?
Yeah. We'll
We'll
10x your
10x your
sales in
business.
20 days.
No.
Now, at least on to defend marketers about this overpromise under-deliver, some of this has developed in the last several years because of the demands from,
Right.
the CEOs, the CFOs, business owners, who all look around at social media and they see some of these accounts talking all this stuff about how we took this brand from this to this and we did it instantly and so
Right.
quick. There's a perception out there from the non-marketer side that if you start working with marketing folks, magic things immediately should start happening. And if they don't, you're a liar and you're bad at this.
Right.
And so in defense of the marketers on this and on the agency side, what we do, we tell people, hey, marketing is hard and it takes time.
Yep. Nobody
terribly
wants to
sexy.
hear that.
People don't bust our doors down.
No, nobody wants to hear that, right?
Nobody
They
wants to hear
want
the truth
10X.
about marketing. Businesses also want to be sold the dream, and they will
Right.
go, if 3 agencies pitch them, who is Xing, who's giving them the highest X
Right.
is who they're going to go with.
But the consumers, though, so yeah, I totally get that from the business and the marketer side, but the consumer side is getting smart on this too. And so what you will see is what I actively see, and I always, I this is a marketing side of us, right? I look at comments on every ad. Like I am that person because I want to see what people are posting, and the consumers will get nasty with you. They will go on your sponsored posts and they will call out if your product doesn't work or if you're BSing them or if you're using filters in when you're promoting skincare, like those types of things. Like consumers are relentless. Like they will get on you about that. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I think everybody, on a consumer side is like, don't over.
Instant feedback from the market is a great one. Tells you right away. And you also know when you see a brand running an ad out there and they turn comments off.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Like, okay, well, this one didn't
It's been
work.
happening a lot this year, but that's a different topic. But that also brings us to the number 2 on the list, which is the aggressive targeting and retargeting.
Oh yeah.
It's your favorite, Mike, I think.
It is, because I think, the drive for privacy and retargeting is something that I don't do. I don't do it. I run ads for a couple of brands. We don't do, the retargeting stuff that if you land on someone else's website, now when you land on
Right.
social media, you see
We're
us
more
everywhere.
strategic about our retargeting, right?
I
It is
think
not
people
very
really-
aggressive.
That is the one thing in the last 10 years that can really awaken consumers to what marketers know about them and how they were tracked around the internet. That amount of retargeting. Marketers did this one to themselves to bring on this privacy stuff, the lack of tracking, the cookie, the cookieless future.
Right.
This is all because of retargeting.
Well, aggressive retargeting, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's one of those things where, like Meta is filled with this crap. I will interact with a post on something once and then I will continue to get ads for it until I start blocking people. And also, you don't want to have that happen as a business. You don't want to force people to start blocking your paid ad campaigns. So yeah, I think it's one of those where for anything that you do for targeting and retargeting, be conscious of who your audience is and be conscious of how many times you want to show something to somebody before you say, hey, enough, they don't need to see every ad we have out there.
Right.
And then
I think retargeting for behavior that was from your own interactions with people. So if somebody comes and visit your site and, or interacts with you in some way, and then you come back to them, great. Should be doing that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But just because if they visited a competitor or a like product or something, and now those are people I'm hitting immediately.
I'm going to beat you up over that. But that kind of,
I think that's a problem.
That rolls into number 3, which is my personal favorite, emails and cold outreach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's another one.
I have to say this, and this is like professional suicide a little bit on the retention marketing side, but gosh, all the services that have come out that are scraping email addresses, creating, and this is a new thing, right? Over the last 2 years or so, there's been plenty of, again, not calling anybody out by name. You all folks in marketing will know exactly who I'm talking about, but there are definitely services out there that are like, oh, look, we can send additional email flows to your website visitors because we can recognize their email addresses. And then, folks start getting flows, or text messages or emails, And you're like, wait a second, I never subscribed to this brand.
I never gave you permission. That
It is my
enhanced data.
personal, like, it is, I want to die on this hill of this is the most unethical thing. But the part that is so hard is that I have seen it make money. And so it's hard to be like, okay, well, where do we draw the line, right? Like how, are we willing to risk pissing off the consumers for, a few extra bucks on an abandoned browse or something like that when we don't actually for new visitors, right? So if they're returning visitors, I think folks are used to the fact that, they will get something from you if they've begun a checkout, given you their email address. But I think I'm so willing to die on this hill. Do not email anybody that's never signed up for emails. I don't care how advanced the tools are. I don't care how much money you can make. There's got to be an ethical practice that comes into play here somewhere, because the endless emails, oh my God, or LinkedIn messages, this is why the consumers are like, ew, I don't want to sign up for your email. Like, why are you emailing me even if I never signed up? Just not willing to compromise that deliverability and all that, just.
And again, it's like the retargeting, the enhanced data, right? Where
right.
you can get this data. Because I actually saw this as a LinkedIn post from somebody a few days ago where they had this complaint saying, I got a text message from this business and it's my personal cell phone. It's never a number I have used anywhere. It's not on my business cards. It's my personal phone. It's not a work phone. But I got a text message from a business because I visited their website, and then they use enhanced data, and now we can figure out who this is. And he's like, I never opted into any of this. How do I even opt out of it?
Right.
And a lot of times you're dealing with sales folks who think that canned spam doesn't apply to them, and because I'm sending it from my personal Gmail that I don't have to have an opt out or anything. But
no, you do. Disclaimer.
That is a really difficult one. When you're reaching out, like that cold outreach, and I'm not a huge fan of cold outreach. I don't like it. I'm a consumer.
Not for the e-commerce business for sure, right? Like I always think though, because we're talking about the fact that consumers have gotten smarter, give them enough credit to know that they didn't sign up. And so if you are going to target them, be conscious of who are you targeting and what is the risk of targeting folks that never opted in to get emails from you. And if you are going to do cold outreach, because listen, so many businesses, they need to, right? This is what they have sales teams for and such. Find a way to do it that isn't, gross, I guess. Like, I don't know another word.
When you see, so I've seen some coaches talking about that enhanced data and as a way to do cold outreach. Right. When you see someone say though, hey, if you're going to do this, make sure get another domain and don't use your main business domain.
Like red flags all over the place.
Yeah.
But this is
why?
Yeah, this is in line too. So our number 4 on our list, right, is too many gimmicks and buzzwords. So it's the gimmicks, right? It plays into the gimmick of, just all of the AI disruptive, You got
to have the hooks.
How's
your hook? How's your CT?
And LinkedIn, you mentioned LinkedIn, and everybody on LinkedIn is like, we have this AI powered, not everything is AI powered. Let's be honest. Not everything is made better by being AI powered either. It's just like, I think the consumers are so turned off. Like they get, it's that whole getting the ick, right? When people talk about dating, like somebody does something and you get the ick and you don't like them anymore. It's kind of like that in marketing with these buzzwords. And I see people complain about them all the time on LinkedIn, like revolutionary, we're disrupting the industry,
and all of these things we've talked about so far, it's all a symptom for me of brands who are looking for a short-term result and they do not think about the long-term health of their brand and their relationships to not only their customers, but to people who are potential customers and that, right? Like,
right.
And I know marketers and salespeople talk about like, if they're never going to be a customer of yours, it doesn't matter what they think about you. Like, well, it kind of does.
It matters.
Yeah, it kind of does. It doesn't matter to you if you're in sales. This is a difference between sales and marketing, I think. Right. And I know sales folks will come at me and like, but sales doesn't care. If you're not going to improve if you're not going to help them hit goal and hit their commission number, then I don't care about you. You're essentially dead to me. But like you create all these people out there and you start building up this audience of people who actively dislike you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not even ignore you, who actively dislike you, and they're going to tell people. So I think when you do these things to take your conversion rate to 2.5% to 2.8% and say this is a big win on this technique, but then we created how many never customers from that?
Yeah. I mean, this kind of plays into then we go into the number 5, which is cringy AI generated content. Right. And this is this is going in line with the buzzwords and, be careful. I mean, honestly, there's so much AI generated content right now and consumers are smart about it. They're smart about watching lifestyle videos with, the fitness industry, I feel like, is slammed with this, with AI generated personalities that are promoting different products, supplements, different things. Your consumers know. They really do know. So just be careful about that. I don't want to focus too much on that one. I just think it's flooded everywhere. It's on TikTok, on Instagram. Just be conscious of it. I'm all for using AI where it makes sense for you. If you want to enhance your photography, maybe add some lifestyle images. I get it. Some folks maybe don't have things in budget, and need to rely on AI for creative. Fine. But just don't go overboard, with those things.
Yeah.
But
I think AI, there's only, I talk about this because, again, I try to exist in the real world and not in just the marketing world or the LinkedIn world. Because it's really only on LinkedIn you see people talk about how much they love AI. And I think there's 3 audiences. There are people on LinkedIn who want to be AI influencers, so they love it. There are CEOs who love it because they think they can use AI to lay off a lot of employees.
Yeah.
And then there are the VCs who love it because they have FOMO about anything that a 23-year-old tech kid in a vest from Silicon Valley tells them is the future. That's it. Beyond that, actual consumers don't like AI.
No,
they're not a fan of it.
I think, it's in a lot of it, in a lot of it that I've seen, and I keep saying this, it's giving me 1997 Cosmopolitan cover vibes, right? Where everything is so extremely photoshopped when it used to be back in the day, to the point of looking just very unrealistic. And I feel
there's a uncanny valley always. People are good. Humans are good at spotting it too.
Yeah, they are.
And everyone says these generative AI, especially the image side, it'll get better too. But then people's ability to spot it will improve as well.
Too.
And we talk about, we've talked about here, why does the world hate marketing? That's why they especially don't like AI, because all these things rolled into one. Nobody likes to be marketed to. They feel like marketing does things to try to manipulate them, to trick them into buying things. And then they think AI is going to be used to super enhance that. So people are against it.
Yeah.
They do not like it. They don't like the idea of you using it for marketing.
But they also,
I get it. I think it's a good tool, and there's a way to utilize it. But
sure. Yeah.
Like anything else, Excel spreadsheets are good tools also for your business.
Look, it's just one of those where I think it can really backfire on you. Number 6, clickbait and fake urgency. Yeah. It's one of your favorites, right, Mike?
I know. You remember this was a thing years ago at Grunt Style, probably 10 years ago when that fake urgency thing, and Amazon maybe added it first, but then we were able to do it in Shopify, where you could have somebody land on a product and it would say there's only 3 left.
Only 3 left. Or the apps that are so-and-so from this location just bought this shirt. What a coincidence. Also, I've seen some of these things work really well in a sense of X number of people are viewing this product, things like that, to kind of show interest in some new items. So I think that works. But I think where people get really frustrated with the fake urgency is when you say this promo ends at midnight. And then tomorrow they're going to get an email that said this promo was extended. And then the next day, finally the last day. And now you do this multiple times. And consumer is like, you know what? Listen, I'm not responding to any of this. I know what you're up to. You're extending every promotion. Nothing's ending at midnight. You're always running discounts. I think people get turned off by that.
The FOMO thing, I think, has been way overplayed too, right? You want to create that fake urgency, so people have this fear of missing this. And I think it was definitely overdone, and people get it now. And this is the rise of social media, and then everyone else being able to watch these creators and people talk about these things on social media. It's a fascinating for me always, on LinkedIn, when You have all these sales gurus out there talking about things that they do. Here's techniques we teach our salespeople. And you're like, I was like, hey, I'm out here watching this too.
Right.
As a consumer. So
right.
I see what you're teaching people. So when I have one of your salespeople who's going to use this on me, I also watched this video.
Yeah.
So I get it immediately.
There is a name that immediately pops up into my head that I don't want to
Well, there's so much content
but,
out there of people talking about these things that consumers themselves have seen behind the curtain on a lot of stuff, and they get it. But all of it is really a technique.
My
thing about marketing, hey, you have a product or a service, tell people about it. Tell them why you're the best option for them, how you can help them. And if they like it, they'll buy it. If they don't, they won't.
Right.
That's pretty much the name of the game. That's it.
Well, but then you're really going to love this next one, Mike. Forced relatability and trendjacking.
Yeah. Trendjacking.
So we've seen this a lot, right? So in the last 5 years, we don't necessarily need to name events here, but we've seen this a lot where a brand will be like, we stand with XYZ, but then don't actually follow up. And so what's happening is consumers are getting really smart. Again, consumers are getting really smart, and they hate this kind of fake virtue signaling, right? And they will call you out. If you say you are standing for a cause, you better have money backing that thing up. Otherwise, consumers will find it. They will call you out. They will destroy you on social media. If you're target, they will sue you,
You just, it's that payoff that always has to be there. We used to run, I've run contests and done all that stuff.
Right.
And have done stuff with charity.
Right.
But you can't use it as a sales technique if it's just that.
Look, like
you actually have to mean it and actually do the payoff.
You cannot pretend that you're relating to a cause that you are just doing for virtue signaling. You better be donating money. You better actually be involved in the cause
and prove that, and show
prove it. Absolutely.
Not tied to some also promotion thing, then, right?
Oh,
and this is where, this is the kind of the start with why thing.
Well,
every
and
business was
this
supposed
is like
to have
where
this deep why, and people get this stuff now. That no, it's all marketing.
And it's just, this forced relatability thing too. I know we've talked about it, when folks really try to go out of their way to I'm going to share personal things, and that way people will relate. Be conscious of the fact that you are still a business, selling to a consumer. Your consumer is not going to be your best friend. Let's be honest. People see through that. I've seen so many people just not be genuine about how they're trying to relate because they think this is what they should be doing. Right. So I don't know. It's just one of those that is
all of these that we talked about, right? To me, each one of these things that you brought up they're all short-term tactics that do not take long-term brand health into account. Because I'm looking for, and a lot of times, and look, marketing folks, we've been there too. Mm-hmm. You have a goal to hit this month.
Right.
And it's the 15th. It's the 15th and you're trending for 75% of goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Right.
Well, listen, what you don't do is hidden fees and bait and switch tactics. That's the last thing on my list.
Right. But I get it. On the marketing side, why some of these things happen is because of the pressure put on for results, that may not be real or even reachable. That's another discussion, I guess, but I get it.
Yeah.
But even if you get put into that position, understand that when you do those things, you are trading a result today, I think, for a long-term damage to relationship with consumers.
Look, the interesting thing is, with marketing too, this whole idea of people being mad about bait and switch, right? That stuff has been going on for, obviously decades in marketing, right? And there's so many industries that are so guilty of this, right? I immediately go to concert tickets. Okay, so my ticket is X, and then I'm paying this fee and that fee and that fee, and then it's a double by the time I check out. Right? People absolutely hate that. Don't offer me free shipping. And then in tiny, tiny font, when I get to the cart, you tell me that it's on an order of X, over X amount of dollars. People will get, they will catch on. They will catch on quickly. I think airlines do this all the time. There's a lot of industries that do this, and it's just it's so crappy. And I don't know, this is not that one of those, I mentioned to you before, I worked for a catalog company in the past, and they have took their catalog to be a literal reiteration on their website. So they had a processing fee. So a lot of promotions were like, hey, 25% off and free shipping on an order of $50 or more. But then, by the way, you're also paying a processing fee. What the heck is a processing fee? That used to be a catalog thing when you mailed in your payments and somebody actually had to process the thing. Don't do this. Like, this is why I think to businesses, like, this is why consumers will hate you. They will. If you are offering something, be clean about it, be clear about it. Don't try to clickbait people with it.
I know it's not sexy marketing, but I still always feel, be honest with folks, try to create true relationships. Yeah. Not everybody's going to want to buy from you. Not everyone's going to like you. Find your audience. Not everyone
needs to, right? Right. That's the thing. And I think, Mike, like you're right on. It's consumers I think they just hate bad marketing. It's not that they hate marketing in general, because I'm sure, I have found ads from other companies helpful. Like, oh yeah, this is a cool, I'll look at this service or this thing or this app or whatever. But I think they just hate bad marketing practices, and they're smart about it now. That's the thing.
It's just got, there's a reputation in our industry just of that kind of dishonest and but
that's why consumers hate us. I mean, we're hated in corporate America across departments, but that's a whole separate podcast.
That's another. I know. So that's it. Those are a few reasons. I'm sure there are many more, but that's a few.
There are many more. Tell us more. Tell us.
Be sure to tell us.
Yes. Tell us why else you hate us. No, tell us why, tell us what your experience has been, as a marketer, for sure. Or as a consumer, which marketing campaigns have you just hated because of any of these or any other reasons?
That's it. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this one.
Episode 10.
You can find us again, YouTube, Spotify. We're out there in a couple places. And of course, the Cynical Marketers website. You can find us. Google us even. We'll show up. And you can find us on TikTok. We're much more active there. Lots of places. We're, in all the spots.
TikTok and YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, we appreciate it.
We do.
And we will be back again next week with another hot episode of the Cynical Marketers. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.